Brady came out on Twitter and called me out and said, "How do you know I've never seen an alien?" Got to be honest. He won a Super Bowl at 43 and eats avocado ice cream. Brady probably is an alien, but I was wrong on this. I suggested Tom had never seen a UFO, and Brady called me out. Hurt, not going to lie.
Where Colin was right?
Lifestyle. Yes, lifestyle, not just winning, played a huge role in J.J. Watt signing with Arizona. At his press conference, he admitted weather was an issue. Training's an issue in Arizona. So Buffalo finished second to Arizona. Buffalo has the better head coach. Buffalo has the much better roster. Buffalo is a Super Bowl team. Arizona's not. But regardless of tax rates and other obstacles, players with options like J.J. Watt increasingly, they want to go to California. They want to go to Arizona. They want to go to warm weather. And I don't have a problem with any of it.
Where Colin was wrong.
Now, I did think J.J. Watt felt like a great fit in a semi-lock to the Packers, and he was not in the top two. This surprised me. He's from Wisconsin. He admitted a couple years ago that even playing a preseason game against the Packers was a dream come true. I do think Green Bay, if you look at the way the world's working, outside of quarterback, doesn't everybody need a good pass rusher? Isn't that like number 2 on everybody's want list? So I was surprised, JJ, Packers were not in his top 2.
Where Colin was right?
Never been a Blake Griffin guy, and Detroit released him. No playoff wins. He played more than 25 games exactly once. Listen, he is a great athlete. I've never felt he's a fluid basketball player. I always thought in the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin finger-pointing escapades in L.A., Chris Paul was the much better basketball player, made people better, was the better leader. Now, Chris can be a pain. Chris is hard on guys. But Blake Griffin to Detroit didn't do a thing. He was rarely healthy, couldn't win a playoff game, and now he goes to Brooklyn where 3 guys will carry him.
Where Colin was wrong.
I never thought Seattle would even consider trading Russell Wilson. A report last week, they're officially taking calls. 9 years, 8 playoff appearances. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Now, I still contend Russell Wilson starts for the Seahawks second week of September. And I think these guys, listen, they're both super talented, the coach and the quarterback. But the fact they are taking calls is mind-blowing. To me, I'm sorry, but Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes should never hit the market. Sorry, it shouldn't ever.
Make it work.
Make it work. Just deal with it. Make it work. This is stupid. I don't care if you don't get along. You have to get along with everybody. Brady and Belichick didn't have dinner in 20 years. Make it work.
Where Colin was right?
The Dak deal, still not done. 30 hours until the franchise tag deadline. Listen, I have respect for all the reporters in Dallas, but I kept saying this. Listen, when Jerry Jones wants stuff done, he has a history. He gets stuff done. I've been hearing this for 2 years now. I don't think Dak getting a franchise deal tag is a bad deal for Dak at all. I mean, that means $69 million for 2 years. I went to his Twitter account yesterday. That guy's got more ads and endorsements. Dak is, if he gets franchise tag, he'll be over $100 million in earnings, endorsements in football, 4 years in the league, in a state with no state tax. So I'm happy for Dak. But I've never bought into this. Well, it's just a matter of time. We all know he's going to get a long-term contract. And my takeaway is I've never bought into it. Listen, if he wants Mahomes money, you get the pushback. Like, I get it. I mean, I'd rather sign him to a 4-year deal and manipulate the cap than pay a fortune for a franchise tag, because then the following year you're going to have to pay him like $50. But it doesn't look like he's going to get a deal.
Where Colin was wrong.
Well, super talented, but a little goofy and a little silly Joel Embiid right now is the favorite to win the MVP. And I've been trying to trade him for years. For the record, I was told Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons flew separately down to the All-Star game in Atlanta. They refused to share a private jet. They still don't get along. I don't like them on the court together. But I will say this about Joel Embiid. I will say it. They're 1-5 when he doesn't play. He's the closest thing to Shaq I've seen in terms of just skill. And they're 23-7 when he does play. And, you know, my theory was always move Embiid. He's been hurt. He's a big. They never get healthier. Keep Simmons and surround him with three-point shooters. But Ben Simmons is a total enigma. I know he's a great defender. I was talking to my buddy Ryan Russillo yesterday at breakfast, and he said in that game against Utah, remember when Philadelphia played Utah? Like the finals, the game went to overtime. Simmons didn't even take a shot. Overtime, last 6-7 minutes of the fourth. Like Embiid, for all his goofiness, delivers. He is the horse. They ride him, and they're 23-7 when he starts, and that's the best record in the East, and I'm wrong.
Where Colin was right?
Well, last week, Chris Broussard, had an all-star draft. Isn't that interesting? My team was essentially the exact same team LeBron chose. Me and LeBron, a couple of basketball geniuses, crushed Broussard and Kevin Durant's team. Poor Chris Broussard did not stand a chance. LeBron, Steph Curry. LeBron barely even played. Kawhi Leonard, feels good. Just put Broussard is back in his place a little bit.
Where Colin was wrong.
Kevin Stefanski, head coach at Cleveland, over the weekend said it again. We're going to keep Odell Beckham Jr. I find it fascinating because that means Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry will take up 15% of Cleveland's cap. That's a lot for a team that needs a ton of help on the back end of their defense. I still can. They just keep selling me they're keeping him. I'll make a bet here for a big pan of tiramisu with anybody on the staff. They're going to play OBJ in the first 6 weeks. He doesn't have a ton of trade value now because he's off an injury. They're going to play him for about 6 or 7 weeks. Then they'll elevate his trade value and move him. Cleveland's got too many issues in the back seven. Jarvis Landry's great. Jarvis Landry's a one in this league. He's not the flashiest one, but he's a low-end one receiver. You can draft a 2 and a 3.
Where Colin was right?
I never bought into Russell Westbrook's triple-double. I always said it was a gimmick. I always said, so if he averaged 9 rebounds, not 10, would he win the MVP? Well, so far this year, he's having another great year. 20 points, 9.7 rebounds, 9.8 assists. Didn't even make the Eastern All-Star team. That thing he was goosing his rebound. I always said, if you want to make him the MVP, because he's carrying his team to the playoffs, I don't have a problem. But giving a guy an MVP on a triple-double when he's goosing certain stats, Carmelo Anthony later admitted, we wanted to get him 10 rebounds. So now he's like 0.2 and 0.3 away from a triple-double. He doesn't make the Eastern All-Star team? Doesn't even make the team? Always a gimmick. Super talented, but that was a gimmick MVP. All right, Rick Bucher's going to join us next. Some NBA thoughts. Carlos Dunlap has been released by the Seattle Seahawks, which makes total sense. Gives them $15 million or almost $15 million in cap space as their young pass rushers develop and are ready to play. So you're gonna see a lot. I mean, like in the recent history of the NFL, there's going to be so many good players over the next 3 weeks that get released. They're going to be like borderline Pro Bowl guys because the cap's coming down, and a lot of these teams are in a position they thought the cap was going to go up. So Carlos Dunlap, good player, good guy, excellent for Seattle, on the market. With the tax deadline approaching, it's important to take steps to avoid being a victim of tax scams, and they are out there. Cyber criminals have used Social Security numbers to file fake returns. Why? They want to steal your refund. File early, be aware of suspicious activities related to your return, and find out if you're eligible to apply for an IRS identity protection pin. Cybercrime is scary. Identity theft is brutal. Every day we put our info out there on the internet, especially tax season. All your info is out there. Your Social Security number could be for sale on the dark web. If LifeLock detects your info has been compromised, they immediately send you an alert from a domestic agent. And listen, nobody prevents all this theft or monitors all transactions at all businesses. But you can keep what's yours with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Join now. Save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com, promo code HERD. LifeLock.com, promo code HERD for 25% off.